Hello, good evening, everyone. I hope we're all good. This is another week. Last week we had a bank holiday, and I thought, you know what, I'll let the guys just enjoy with the family, whether it's barbecue or whatever is happening, and the weather was good as well. So I thought, let's just shift it. But we're back here today. We can't relent in trying to sharpen each other to make us better because the challenges that we are facing and we are going to be facing are going to be changing. And if we stop sharpening each other, what are we going to do? So, without further ado, we are going to be talking about the new way of life and work, the new way of work and life. That's what we're going to talk about today. But before then, let's just do some intro and we'll be right back.
Mastermind for Men is a supportive space where men are encouraged to grow into their best selves. We believe every man has a unique purpose and a gift to share with the world. Our dream is that this community acts as a catalyst, helping us unlock our potential and walk confidently in our purpose. Together, let's foster courage and boldness as we become the men we were born to be, making a positive impact on our families, communities, and living lives of purpose. Welcome to Mastermind for Men. Together we are bigger, better, and stronger. Iron sharpens iron.
Hello. I think I had my brother there 1 minute ago, and then he quickly disappeared. If you're watching online, if you're looking to or planning to join us tonight, this is a very, very good one. I'd like us to join because it's not a conversation I can have on my own. It's something that we can put on the table. We talk about it and see how this can help us to begin to rebuild, to begin to prepare ourselves for the life or what life has become and what work has become. It's very, very important. So if you're thinking of joining, please jump over. I don't want to be dishing out anything because I don't know everything, But when I put an idea on the table and we can all gather around the table and talk about it, the impact is bigger. And that's what we want to achieve, using the collective intelligence of each and every one of us to start to build up ourselves individually so that we have the power of many, which is where iron sharpening iron comes in handy. So if you're on the fence and you're thinking of joining tonight, please join. It's going to be an open discussion because I think this is something that's quite timely for each and every one of us. There are so many things that are changing, and we can't stop them from changing. And that's how life is. We're going to continue to change. Things are going to continue to change. And we will only cope if we will be brave enough to face whatever change that's happening head on. But if we're going to sit down here and challenge it and say it's not right, it's not fair, it shouldn't be happening now, or I don't think it's going to happen, trust me, things are going to happen. Things are going to change. But the question for you and I is, are we ready? Unfortunately, whether we are ready or not, it doesn't matter. Change is still going to come. So that's why I think this topic tonight is really, really crucial for each and every one of us to join and make it a good one. Because if I put an idea on the table and I just tackle it myself, it's just my intelligence that's working. Even though I pray for the Holy Spirit to help me to talk about things, but if there are more of us here, then the power is going to be completely different. So in the past few weeks, we've been talking about uncertainties and how those things are real and how we can use certain skills and certain understanding to overcome uncertainty. How we part of what we agreed was that uncertainty is going to come. So it's actually part of life, and if we're going to thrive, we're going to ensure that we understand that this is life. That's how it is. There's loads of uncertainties, that we understand that for us to face uncertainties, we must learn and learn brand new things and unlearn the things that are old now, because most of the education we have were good for the context in which we learned them. But as things continue to change, those things expire. So as we gain skills of learning, we must also gain skills of unlearning, which is quite difficult in most cases. We also talked about being able to ask for help. And this is a type of community where we can gather around and ask for help. And then we talked about, thank you so much for rejoining. I know you're experiencing some technical difficulties tonight. We will stand tall above it tonight. So welcome back from your trip. It's good to have you back. I was just talking to the guys about what we've gone through over the past few weeks, talking about uncertainty and what we need to be doing, how we need to adjust, how we need to accept first that that's part of life, and how we need to understand that if it is part of life, then we've got to develop skills that allows us to learn the new things that are coming, but most importantly, to unlearn the things that helped us in the previous context when that knowledge was relevant. And then we talked about asking for help, because that's why we gather here every Monday evening, create opportunity for us to not only learn, but for us to go to the back door and the room behind the doors and ask for help from each other, say what we're doing and say what the challenges are. And then from there, we'll begin to gain the confidence to even start considering the choice of trying again, because that's something that we must get used to. We don't just drop it because it's failed. We've got to have that spirit of trying again. But when we're trying to try again, just because we have to try again, then we're going to fail again, because if knowledge does not change, outcome is not going to change. It's like you have a computer that's throwing an error. If you don't do something else and you keep putting in that input, it's going to bring out whatever it is, that whatever error that it's been bringing out. And then finally, we talked about mastering uncertainty. It's not because you are you know what's coming, but because you have skilled yourself up to know what's going to, that this is part of life, and you know what you are expected to do, or what you need to do when you are facing those situations. All right. So today I thought, good idea that I wasn't going to have this conversation all by myself, because it's just going to be worthless. If you've known me for a long time, I don't trust too much in my knowledge. I like us to share knowledge. I like us to put things on the table. We challenge it. We learn from each other. If I'm right, I'm right. If you poke holes on the ideas, that's how we grow. That's how we grow, because nobody can say that they are right in their own eyes. All right. So tonight we are going to be talking about the new way of work and life. I'll just do a preface, and I'll find out from you, Kendrick, how you see things changing from where you are. So recently, I've been, trying to find ways, to push forward. Look, what is the latest? What else can we do? What opportunities lie there? For consulting positions to go into organizations and help them the way I have been helping them for a very long time. But what I found is it's really tough right now. The market is tough, and we will be fooling ourselves if we think that because it's tough, life is about seasons. The season is going to change, and then it's going to go back to what it used to be. Then we'll be deceiving ourselves. It's just like when they were the horses and cars were being built. Some people were praying that the horses become popular again. But look, so many years down the line, we're even about to start forgetting about cars now. People are talking about hovering cars now that are like drones to pick someone from one place to another. And that's why I think this topic tonight is very, very important. So I was thinking about this, and I said to myself, what if things have really changed forever? What if things have permanently changed and moved on from where things used to be to where it's supposed to be going to? And what I'm doing is I'm sitting and I'm waiting for things to change back to what it used to be. That could be where we are. That could be a level of foolishness that's happening. That could be a prayer that God himself won't even answer, Because most times we pray for things and we think, oh Lord, please answer this prayer and so on. I want to fly in the air like Philip, in the Acts of the Apostles and so on, so that I will show the world that you sent me and so on and so forth. And then you find that God is not going to do it. He's putting technology in people's heads. They build private jets, they build airlines. You can fly. Just make a little bit of money. You can fly, just like Philip did, mysteriously in the Bible. And that's the thought that's now coming to my mind. And the more I think about it, the more I'm convinced that things have permanently changed in a very, 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 very scary way, that what we used to call work is gradually not becoming work. It's gradually becoming something that the machines can do. What we believe that is a profession that one can have in the past, in our faces, these professions are being wiped out just like that. And some people are still in the corner hoping that things will come back that way and will continue to live lives. So the idea I want to put on the table tonight for all of us is, what if things have permanently changed? And if that is the case, what are we going to do? Or what are we doing to make sure that we are going with the flow of things? Because if we're going to even walk with God in this new season, we've got to receive a fresh anointing for this brand new season that we are into. The anointing that we needed to operate in the old regime may not work this time. We need a fresh anointing to bring in brand new ideas that fits into the context that the Lord has created. We know that the earth and the heaven belongs to God. Whatever knowledge that we have now, He has put it into the minds of men. So, so I'm beginning to think, how do we begin to think about fitting ourselves into the new way of work, into the new way of life, into the new way that the world works, instead of holding on to the old way. It may not disappear today, it may not disappear tomorrow, but if it is imminent, then maybe it's a good time for us to start thinking and interrogating these things that's coming out and beginning to look for ways to move forward. So I'm just curious, what do you think? What are your thoughts about the way the world is going? Key foundation of the topic is artificial intelligence and what is happening in that space, and robotics and all those things that's happening.
Wow, what a powerful topic this evening, sir. First of all, let me just apologize for my screen is glitching all over the place. I'm not sure what's going on, but I'm sure we'll get through it. Well, I'm sure you guys heard the saying that the only thing that is constant is change, and I believe we are living in one of the most powerful eras right now, where if our great grandparents were alive now, they would not even recognize the times that we are living in right now, because it has changed so fast and so quick over a very short period of time. I think where we are going, I think it's almost like very hard for anybody to really gauge what life is going to look like within the next 10, 20 years. Because the speed at which we are moving right now, it's just staggering. It's staggering. And I think our job is to not play ignorant, not play safe, and not play kind of like trying to hope that this thing is not going to affect us, but it is going to affect us in a massive way. And our job is to make sure that we keep up. It's almost like your response to certain things, you have to be on top of information when it comes to technology and what is. I know sometimes we like say, now I'm not about what is the in thing, but if you and I are not getting up to speed on what's trending right now, not only are we going to miss out on opportunities, we can also miss out on the direction that that God wants to take us, if you like, in terms of our calling, in terms of how effective we can actually live out our lives. Because I don't think so much AI is there to take over. It's there for us. If we can tap into it, it can make us to become more productive, more creative. It gives us more hours in the day, because now instead of spending 3 hours in doing something, now you can literally take 5 minutes and it's done and dusted. You know, and that is something that is kind of like it's new, it's brand new. Those that went before us has never experienced something like this. So I think the question is, all right, how are you and I preparing ourselves to tap into this? And I think sometimes what might even happen is we might even get overwhelmed, because every week there will be something new coming out. Every month there will be something fresh. It's like, oh, let me try this, and then suddenly you're getting paralyzed because you want to try out everything instead of just staying in your lane and just mastering what you're working on. So great topic, sir. Let's dig into it and see what we can get from it. But I believe we are living in very exciting times.
No, fantastic. Thank you so much. That's change is constant. Change is constant. But like you said, when the rate of change is highly accelerated, that is even scarier than, because words like that, quotes like that, when they were said, was when change was like 5% of what it at 5% of the rate that change is happening now. So the quote is even more urgent now that we've talked about it. Now that we've entered this AI age and other technologies, because it's not just artificial intelligence that's happening; it's other things that's happening. So what where I would like to start the conversation is, when I was talking about a few weeks ago, I talked about learning and unlearning. This is also crucial for us in this new way of work and life. It's very, very crucial, because we now need to learn new things. In the past, there will be some technologies that will come out and you say, you know what, I can't be bothered. This is too much for me to learn. And so now it's become a case of you must learn something about this thing that's happening, because you'll be far behind if you're not careful. And there's a point you made there, Kendrick, about how do we the importance of making sure that we latch onto something that's new, because that could be the direction that the Lord is going to enable us to achieve our purpose in life. And what a tragedy it would be that we would ignore those opportunities, and then we expect God to walk with other things, whereas He has put this thing in front of us.
Yeah.
So what I want to first highlight is the importance of learning these brand new things that's there. It's boring. It's it's time consuming. Sometimes you don't even know why you should learn it until you need it suddenly, and then you have to go back and learn it, because it's just like doing the garden and so on. You don't know how to do it, and then one day the missus says this garden has got to be done this weekend, and then you called all the people that could come and do it this weekend. And the difference between sleeping on the sofa downstairs and having a big argument. You just have to go and do it. But if you had spent some time to learn it and have that as a skill, what will happen is, if push comes to shove, you say, you know what, I'm just going to go into the shed and grab one or two things, and the next thing is done. And we can't wait for us to find ourselves in those desperate situations before we start engaging in the learning, because it's not something that we can run away from. you look at the cars that are being built. You were talking about the speed of solving problems, the speed of doing work. Now, in most cases, is being caught by almost 100%. The speed compared to the speed of a human doing it, it's almost the comparison is almost, you can see, call it 99.99999, and you're still looking for another 9 to put for it to make sense. So why don't we start now to start doing things, to start learning those things, so that we don't get to where it's a must now and then it finds us unprepared.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the first side. The other side is then the side of unlearning. There are ways of doing things that we have always known. How do we then put in effort to make sure that doesn't continue to, take a center stage in our lives, in the approaches that we take in solving problems, in the approaches that we take to, live our lives and so on? How do we start to walk back, step back from that, so that what we are able to achieve is in line with what technology allows and whatever is happening around life now allows? I don't know if you'd like to add anything on to learning and unlearning.
Yeah, no, that you are absolutely right, because in this season of change, and well, even it's not really a season, it is just because change is ongoing, isn't it? It's not like you change now and then obviously there's a time that you will not. No, it's ongoing. But during this time where a change is just imperative, it's not even optional. You and I have to keep up with the change. But I think a good way to look at it is, first of all, change doesn't ask for permission; it just shows up.
Yeah,
it asks for courage. You and I have to be courageous when we see change. It is required of us to change. It will require from you and I to be courageous and say, all right, it's not going to be easy, but I'm willing to have a go at it. I'm not going to run away from it, because it will just meet me on the other side. But change is kind of like an open door, isn't it? Because if I say yes to change, what's happening is I open myself up for more opportunities. I open myself up for transformation. I open up myself for opportunities that will come that would not have even appear within my or showed up in my radar if I did not consider change. Because the thing is, wherever there's stagnation, there's no meaningful growth, isn't it? So we have to, if I'm telling myself that I'm growth minded and I want to be better next week, next month, next year, compared to where I am right now, I should be at a place where I understand that I can't stand still. I have to go with the change that is presenting itself, and whatever that is required, I just need to man up. And when you are courageous enough to, it's almost like sometimes it will require us going against the grain, because everybody's like, what's up with Kendrick? What's up with Chido? Why are they not? It's almost like you stand up, like you can stand out like a sore thumb, because you're not doing things the way everybody else is doing it. You're going against the grain, and which is good. We're not saying it's going to be easy, but it will be required. It will be required of us to be willing to be talked about and be willing to take chances where others are not prepared to take chances. And I believe if we can do that, then we will reap the reward. We will. But I think the main thing during this time is to be focused. Like I was saying earlier, we can be, because you can go into chat and you can just kind of like ask all kind of questions. What should I do? What do you think is it? And it's like, and your head starts spinning. It's like, all right, what do I do? Where am I? Is it day? Is it night? Am I up or am I down?
Yeah.
And then you find yourself give it 2 years and then you are still at the same place
Yeah.
because you got in a place of being paralyzed. You couldn't move. You can't move because you are overwhelmed. So I think that's very important.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, brother, for that wise addition. Change is not going to ask for permission; is asking for courage. Very, very powerful. Very powerful. Well, that means we don't have a choice. We've got to do what we've got to do now.
Yeah.
And if we don't, then somebody else is going to do it for us. And the other thing I wanted to point out is the fact that the knowledge we have, we are all educated enough to tap into what is happening. We are all educated enough to tap into what is happening.
Yeah.
But the unfortunate thing that's happening now is knowledge does not come to you. You have got to go against knowledge.
Yeah.
Go after knowledge. Sorry, not against. You have got to go after knowledge. So if we sit down and do nothing, the knowledge that will come to you is not going to be quality knowledge. The real life-changing, life-transforming knowledge that will come to each and every one of us will come from us actively seeking that knowledge. Else, what comes to us is information. Information that is going to favor whoever is sending the information our way. For example, there was a massive thing in the news this week with one of the CEOs saying, in the next 5 years, there's going to be a reduction in the entry-level jobs by about 20%.
Wow.
Now, you have to start asking yourself, if that is the case, how come it's not in the news? A lot. And if that is the case, how come so many organizations are implementing these new technologies, but you don't see them talk about that openly? Is it not clear that they are in the back working on something that's going to take away jobs, but holding back information?
Yeah.
Holding back information that will guide people to start doing what they need to be doing now, especially in terms of learning and unlearning. Imagine if that is the case, and the CEO of Marks and Spencer, Tesco's, all those big PLCs, even the banks, they come out and start saying, "Oh, we are seeing this change coming, about 20% unemployment, entry-level jobs. Guys, we need to step up our games. You need to start encouraging your children to start learning because entry-level jobs will disappear." When you leave university these days, you're now going to go into middle-level job if you have sought knowledge to the extent that you can fit into there.
Yeah.
Instead of you sit down and you push your children through education, and when they finish university, they are only prepared for entry-level jobs. But those entry-level jobs, they are predicting that it will disappear in the next 5 years.
Wow.
But nobody is going to tell anybody that. It's just going to be about us seeking for that information and saying, if this is the case, maybe I should be looking this way. Because before we start seeing a massive change in the way children are educated, in the way people are educated, it might take another 10 years. It might take another 10 years. But then, before then, there would have been that bloodbath period of so many people being out of work, or so many people graduating, but coming in at a level that's not really required by any organization, because most of the things you can do as a graduate is automated. It's only the advanced task that will be done. So, is this type of pushing and looking for knowledge, actively looking for knowledge by ourselves, or waiting for us to receive information? Because when we receive that information, most times we forget that no information is put out there without a motive. Every news house has a reason why they take the stance that they've taken, and it's about their own interest. Every CEO has the reason why they are saying what they know or not saying it. It's going to favor them. But for us all as individuals, what are we doing to equip ourselves to start thinking of how do we change directions? What do we need to change? How does our thinking, our work, our skills, our lives, how does it need to shift in order for us to align with the truth?
Yeah. That's it.
So I don't know what you want to add to that. You'll be, you know, these are things that have, you know, troubled me this week, and I'm thinking, yes, it looks very complicated, it looks very superficial, but we need to talk about these things. We need to talk about these things because we have come from an era where, you know, whether I work on my personal development or not, I will still survive. I will still make money. I will find a way to make money. But it looks like we are getting into the era where we are all going to be forced to say, if you don't really take personal development seriously, you are going to die. Literally, that's, you know, you're going to not have the knowledge you need to compete. And if you can't compete, well, nobody cares.
Absolutely. You know, it's interesting because if you really think about it, change is so powerful, eh? When and most of the time, especially if you are unaware, you kind of like you're just in a bubble. You don't really know what's happening around the world. You don't even know what is happening within your own world, whether your friends, your family, and all of that kind of thing. But the thing is, when the thing with change, it breaks limiting patterns. You know, where you're so used to do things in a certain way.
Yeah.
It comes, it shows up, and it kind of like disrupt the familiar.
Yeah.
It kind of like, oh no, you can't do it like that anymore, Kendrick. It has changed, my friend. You know, it brings disruption. And the thing is, if you are somebody that is very set on your ways, you are going to struggle with that. You and I will have to be very flexible, you know, because even say, for example, you say, all right, the next 3 months, I'm going to spend time in learning this specific skill. You know, you master it, and suddenly the pattern change. You know, so the question is, are you going to get frustrated? Are you going to get angry? Are you going to kind of like start throwing your toys out of the court because it's like, how dare they? No, it's life. You know, especially now. So you have to be at a place where I have to be at a place. All of us, we have to be at a place. It's like, all right, whatever happens, I'm ready. Just because there's no losing in this game if you are growth minded. Because even if it changes, you know, nobody can take the skill that you've acquired. They can take that away from you. And I think it will require some level of, you know, do your due diligence, because there are certain things that we will need to learn that are foundational. So I need to, for example, just ask myself, okay, if you, for example, say, all right, let me just learn how to use different AI applications, things that it's not like, you know, there might be some changes within the platforms and all of those kind of things, but the basics, you know, you will understand the basics, which means you just need to upgrade your knowledge then. But if you try and I try to learn something that it's this, it's almost like you're not going down, you're trying to just get the fruit. Oh, if I just do that, I'll make a quick buck, or if I just do that, you know. But those are the things that suddenly change very, like, overnight. But if I go down deep and I realize, no, AI is not going anywhere, you know, so let me master some of the main ones, or deepen my knowledge and understanding on it. And even if there are some changes that will come within the next 6 to 12 months, at least I can adjust with that, and I can flow. So I think we have to be very flexible, and be willing to be in the midst of disruption. You know, and not run away from it. Because the challenge the challenge is that don't come up with excuses. Let's just do the work. And the thing also will change. It will bring a level of it will strengthen our adaptability, because if I can adapt to change, uh, I will be able to make my life. I can move things around. Why? Because I'm adaptable, and I'm flexible. I can bend wherever things requires me to bend, and I won't feel like I'm a victim, because either those people that are very rigid on their ways will feel like life is beating me up. I'm a victim. No, let's do the work. Let's do the work, because whether we like it or not, uh, change is here. It's here. We just gotta roll with it.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Thank you so much, brother. We've come to the top of the hour, the 30 minutes, the first half, which is the 30 minutes where we talk about these things. Maybe we'll continue this conversation next week, because there are other things, there are other aspects of this topic that I really want us to dig into.
Yeah.
The next time, so that. But I think we've touched on everything that we need to touch on. That courage. It's also that courage. The last one I was going to add was, it's actually that courage that allows us to try new things without a fear of failure, because we are going to fail.
Yeah.
But if we have courage, we are going to one day succeed if we continue to try.
Yeah.
But if we lack that courage, then we can't try anything, because it's going to fail. Because and in the end, if you don't try at all, you failed before even anything, and so on. So it's very important that we have these things in mind, and understand the truth that we are now in an era where self-learning, personal development, learning, trying, courage to do new things, confidence in yourself and in your ability to do new things has got to be center stage. We don't have a choice, like Henrik, you were saying earlier. We don't have a choice now. We don't have a choice. You can't say, oh, maybe I will do, or maybe I won't. No, it's time for us all to wake up and see what we can do to make sure that the work that is required for us to go from where we are to where we are now thriving in the new way of work and life is.
Yeah.
That's the fact. So on that note, I think it's okay for us to call it a night. I hope that we have benefited from this. It's just something that's troubled me this week, and I thought maybe when these things are put in your mind, it's very important that you speak it out, because it might be the Holy Spirit saying, say these things, say these things. If you are in the middle of trying to resurrect your business, if you are in the process of looking for jobs, if you are in the process of fixing anything in your life, it's very important that we take a step back and think, that way of fixing it, is it still relevant? Is it still good? Does it still happen? Because if it doesn't happen, it will be like looking for a way to fix a cat today that was used when the horses were being used.
Yeah.
You won't find many people giving you that solution. As old as it is, we're talking of 1920s, 1911, and so on. Unfortunately, in our time, what has happened between 1920 and 1980, in our time, 1 year is too long for things to completely change and become something else. And it's not slowing down. It's not going to stop soon. So let's wake up to it, learn and unlearn, develop the courage that change asks from us, especially the new way of work and life, and decide to put in the work that we require to put in order to make this thing work. Because if we don't put in the work, like we said so many times in this in this chat tonight, it's not going to have mercy on us, because it's not even we're insignificant in the grand scheme of things. It's going to flog us as hard as it feels, because it's not about you and I. Change is going to continue to happen Even if it's going to trample on some people, it will trample on people, but it will happen. But if we learn to grow the wings that we need to fly in this new era, then as change is happening, we go with it, not just flow with it. We will thrive with it. All right.
That's it.
Okay. I think we've done very well. 40 minutes on this one. Thank you so much, brother, for joining back. And it's
good to be back, man. Good to be back, bro. I felt something was missing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You know, and the wisdom you brought to this conversation tonight, I really appreciate it. I really appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
No, that's fine. All right, guys, you take care. Try and join us next week. Let's keep talking about these things, especially now that we've told you, you cannot continue to hide. You can't continue to hide. It's time. It's time, whether you like it or not. You either grow or you get crushed. As simple as that. You have a fantastic evening. Take care. We're just going to spend a few minutes at the back and talk about these things and see how we can move forward. All right?
That's it.
God bless.
Awesome.
Bye-bye.
See you guys soon. Bye-bye now. Bye.
Bye.